Okay, so we're going to look at Sumbrada as an example of how you learn the drill and then you break the drill. That's one thing we like to do here, is take a drill and then go beyond the comfort zone, the predictability of it, and add elements of chaos, really, elements, other things that can come into it. Because it's very important to remember that drills are not fighting. It's not the same as fighting. So first we establish the drill. She attacks with angle 1. I roof block, I throw 1, she does inside sweep. There are numerous box drills, by the way. This is a 5-step one. She does her backhand, do a drop stick, notice the footwork as well. I do a thrust off of that. This is all about economy of motion. Wherever her stick is, that's where she attacks from. Where my stick is, that's where I intercept directly to deflect her stick. Now, I throw the 1, she's the roof block. The roles are reversed. Inside sweep, drop stick, wing block, umbrella. It keeps going like that. Now, one thing about fighting in general is that whether sticks or empty hand, is that this middle range is fleeting. It doesn't last in real fighting. So it turns out that the majority of drills happen at that range because we're at arm's reach where we can do things with our hands and with our sticks, to where there's more interesting configurations and variations of things you can do there. But in a real fight, you won't be here but a fraction of a second. You might even bypass it completely going in or going out. So that's something to keep in mind. So how do we break the drill? Well, right off the bat, one way is to add some kind of completion, a disarm, for example. At any point along the way, right off the beginning, I've got a snake. But we continue. She goes right here. I've got an outside snake. But she does it again. Thrust here. I've got a circular high disarm where I end up with both sticks. I can attack. So now we go again, and I'll reverse the rolls. From here, there, I've got a vine. All right. Drop stick. Off the wing, I've got a strip. Okay, off of this again. Here. So that can go a lot of places too. Every one of these has multiple disarms you can use. Some are simpler than others, and I tend to side with simpler is better, because in a real fight you can't really pull off things that are too sophisticated and ornate. We're kind of beguiled by that. We like to watch movies and things that show, Jackie Chan and Jet Li doing these really cool acrobatic things. That's a tremendous amount of skill and agility and balance it takes, but you won't pull those things off in a fight. And so you tend toward looking at things that have a more simple mechanical basis that can be made to happen. And one is, like when we look at the snake, probably the most high percentage of all disarms, is because this whole swath I'm able to just trap. It doesn't require this specific targeting and grip of something that's already flying by. So when I'm going in on the 1 here, I can just kind of trap the whole arm, even go into the clinch. And so that's very workable to lead to grappling or to a disarm. So now, the second way that we can break this is to start it arbitrarily at any point. She chooses any angle of attack, and I just go right into it from there. All right? So that's simple enough. I could start with a 2. Now, interestingly, if she's not in position for that umbrella, well, she might have to do an outside deflect and then find her way into. See, we might be one step away from actually finding our way into the drill, because some awkward moment that isn't necessarily part of the normal drill. You notice in the normal box drill, there isn't an outside deflect against the 2, at least in the 5-step one that we're doing. So to be able to just kind of find your way to it, it's sort of like a good way to practice your Sinawali's, is to not always start on the number 1 strike, the first strike as you learn it, but to start at any point, or to start in some random exchange and then find your way momentarily, like you're playing riffs on a guitar. That's a much better way to functionalize Sinawali, or in this case, the box drill. Now, another way is to connect it to other drills or just to other ranges. We start off at largo mano, and she throws a 1, and I might target the hand. She gets a little closer, and I do this, and then I hit back, and next thing you know, we're at this range where now we're using the alive hand, and then I can close to even closer range. Or it might be like this. Let's say we're here, keep going. Now I just do this, and what does she do? Hubud. So you connect it to Hubud there. And then from there, we don't stay there very long. We might go into grappling, clinch, throwing knees, and things like that. So you can connect it to other drills, just as a way to change range and to flow and change a tool set. Again, though, it's still drilling, but it's a bit more spontaneous. You go outside to middle to in, closer range, and employing not only the end of the stick, but the puño. So that's what you change over with Sumbrada into Hubud. Another way is to just change the weapon, or to go empty hand, or in the case of grabbing a knife, and then not only using a forward grip, but using a pakal grip. So you can do Sumbrada with a knife, you can do it with an umbrella, you can do it with a mag light flashlight. So getting used to holding different length of weapons and different girth, different types of items, and doing it that way. So that's, like I said, you like to broaden what you do so it isn't just this dead routine of the same predictability. Predictability is not going to make you a good fighter. The ability to respond to your environment, the ability to improvise, the ability to apply other skills. This is what really makes you a good fighter.